Today we're going to make some seafood lasagna, and I'm going to cook this in the pressure cooker. So I do have to do a little prep work before I get started with the pressure cooker on this one because there's a lot of delicious ingredients. I'm going to use some dry sea scallops. These are really the best kind of scallops. They're not treated with salt water to make them look more plump. They're nice and natural. And these are wild caught, so it's going to make a delicious sea scallop involved. I'm going to use some cooked shrimp. These are a decent sized shrimp for a recipe. They're 71 count. These are both frozen, but this is not cooked. I'm going to use some extra fish flavor by using the imitation crab meat. I'm going to use the no-boil lasagna noodles for the pressure cooker. You don't have to boil them ahead of time. Use some pan-searing flour to cook the scallops. We're going to cook the scallops in a frying pan ahead of time, just so I can get the pan-seared edge on them and assure that they're going to be at the same amount of doneness as the rest of the ingredients. But that will give us extra delicious scallop. Then we're going to make some creamy sauce with milk and other regular flour. We're going to use a stick of butter involved in this recipe, some onion, fresh parsley, celery, carrots. Of course, we're going to use some garlic, cloves, and the best ingredient of all is the cheese, which I bought from a cheese store in Nazareth, where they make the cheese. Nazareth, Pennsylvania, Calandras. Look at this ricotta cheese. It's so fresh and creamy. It's the most delicious part of this meal, even though we have a lot of other good ingredients. But this makes all the difference. And then they also make mozzarella in the store, and I have a ball of that to grate up. Okay, let's get started with thawing the scallops and pan-searing them. I'll show you how I do that. To thaw out the scallops quickly, I just take the bag of frozen scallops and stick it in a glass bowl and run cold water over this until the scallops are soft. That way there's no danger of food safety issues. While the scallops are thawing out under cold water, I'm going to chop the rest of the ingredients for the sauce. And that involves the celery and the onions and parsley. I'm going to take some fresh parsley. Okay, let's check on the scallops, see if we can get this started. To pan-sear the scallops, I'm going to use a little olive oil in the nice big frying pan. We're going to use this to make our nice white sauce also. Then I'm going to take the pan-searing flour, and if I didn't explain, it's a very finely milled flour. It gives the most crispy edge to pan-seared food. You can use this on chicken, fish, meat. You can take a steak and pan-sear it with a little flour on the edge, and you'll get the most delicious seared in juices in your steak. But today it's going to be used for scallops. So we're going to dip the scallop in here and put it in the hot oil. Alright, the scallops have nicely thawed out. You can see they're flexible now, and there's not a lot of water in this bowl, so they won't spatter. But now we're going to heat up the oil. Okay, when you start to see the oil moving around a little bit, and take a pinch of the flour in your fingers and drop it in and see if it sizzles. See that? When it sizzles, then you know it's ready for you to start cooking. I'm going to take the scallops out of the bowl. Dip them in the pan-searing flour on each side, or whatever you want to be crispy. It can be all sides if you like that. And dip them in that oil. Any amount of moisture that you have on these is what you hear crackling as it hits the oil, which scallops will have some water. See how fine that flour is? It's not like baking flour. Alright, let's take a look here. I want to show you when I say you start to see the color change on the side. You see this part of the scallop is not done, but you can just see this part is very white. That's when I say maybe it's that time to turn it over. So let's take a look at the sear and see what we have. See how nice and golden brown that is? When I was trained on how to cook scallops, I was told make sure they look like a brown paper bag before you flip them to the other side. And that's what these are. It works nicely. And they have a nice sear, which will have delicious flavor when we put it into our recipe. It's tempting to just eat them like this, isn't it? Look how nice and brown. Perfect. See how they come right off the bottom? Where you thought they might be stuck, they actually release themselves. Oh, these are wonderful. Alright, let's check the temperature on some of these small ones here. See, that one's 155. Well done. You can take that out of the pan, nice and crispy on the bottom and the top. I'm going to transfer it to a plate. And crispy paper bag brown. To deglaze the pan a little bit. But I think there's enough stock being created from the flavors that we have. I never know what's in that stock container anyway, so I feel better about this. And all these nice golden bits, they're going to become part of the recipe. As they start sizzling, I'm going to add the chopped up celery, carrot, onions, garlic, and fresh parsley. It's kind of like a mirepoix, but a super mirepoix, because we already have the scallop bits and seafood flavors, and now we're adding lots of delicious vegetables. Here's where we're going to add some butter. Okay, now we're going to add some flour because you can see the vegetables are getting pretty well cooked. We're going to add a little sprinkling of flour to make this thick. Start stirring that in. I think we'll reduce the heat a little bit here so nothing burns here. And as the flour gets mixed in, so that we don't have a bunch of lumps, we're going to mix it first. Then we're going to add some nice milk. And you have to use your judgment here to give yourself enough to make layers in the lasagna pan. You need a decent amount of sauce. So just keep mixing here, gently mixing it. Okay, while the sauce is cooling down, I made a bowl full of chopped up imitation crab meat and the small shrimp. And as soon as that cools a little bit more, we're going to turn this into that mixture along with the scallops. So in the meantime, I'm going to take the ball of mozzarella cheese and make some slices out of it. Rather than shred it, I'm just putting thin layers of slices in between the noodles. And I'll chop a little bit too, but I'm not going to shred it because it's kind of fresh and it's hard to shred the cheese that has a lot of moisture in it. See how creamy it is? Okay, now I have a lot of stuff going on here, but I need to chop up the scallops a little bit, and I'm going to start introducing them into the sauce. I couldn't resist eating one or two. See, they go in here right with that nice crispy crust. That'd be great. You spread that around. Okay, now the scallops are in. We're going to take the shrimp and crab meat, imitation crab meat, spread that around as well before we start turning everything under. Flip them into the sauce. When I get to the edge of the sauce here where there's no seafood in it yet, I'm just going to take a little and put it in the bottom of the pressure cooker. This is the pressure cooker vessel. So that we don't waste a lot of seafood on the bottom. And just a little bit of creaminess in here. And then I'm going to put a little extra milk in the bottom of this because the next layer is going to be noodles. And they're going to need to absorb some of the more liquid. Okay, so just want to show you, like, I'm going to pour about that much milk in the bottom just to give the noodles a place to start, and there will be some nice seafood flavors in there too. Then we're going to take some no-boil lasagna noodles, and we get the small size so that they fit into the, just want to make sure you can see. See, just a little flat layer with a little milk around it. Now we're going to start putting layers in. Alright, so take a look into the pot and you can see there's a nice thick layer of creamy ricotta cheese in there. And then the next thing that we're going to put in is a layer of seafood mixture. Just want to spread it out nicely. Again, you want to try to make sure that everybody gets all the flavors, so make sure there's shrimp and scallops and also the crab meat all over the place. Okay, then I'm going to take a couple slices or chunks of the mozzarella cheese and spread them around too. And I think it's wise to make the bottom layer your heaviest, because when you're taking it out of the pot and putting it on the plate, that will be at the bottom. You don't have to worry about as you're serving it that it slides off the top of the top noodle. Okay, after this we're going to add another layer of lasagna noodles, and you can take some of these and break them up if you need to. But I like to use a crisscross pattern, like we'll go this way next time. And let's do the same layer up here. We're going to put some ricotta cheese and spread it out.
This doesn't have to be as thick as the first layer. Okay. Then we're going to put another layer of the delicious seafood mixture. And a layer of mozzarella cheese. I'm going to put another layer of noodles. Cracked a little bit. I'm going to add a third here. I'm going to add the last layer of mozzarella, I believe. And another layer of seafood. Now another layer of cheese. And
Okay, we're going to use the big Elite pressure cooker. This holds 10 cups, 10 quarts of capacity. And I'm just going to sit the container right into it. Thing I did want to remember to say is that you can use the same recipe whether you use a crock pot, whether you use a baking dish and bake it in the oven. You can do it any way you like. I like to use the pressure cooker because it infuses the flavors so nicely into the noodles and cheese and everything that's in here. Okay. You also can use regular lasagna noodles. You don't need the no boil type, but for this recipe it cooks quicker because all the rest of the ingredients are already cooked. Okay, you put the lid into locking position, as you could hear. You set the valve on the pressure mode, and then we're going to turn this on. And I'm going to set the cooking time for rice, which is 12 minutes. As soon as it builds up pressure, it will start to cook for the 12 minutes of pressurized cooking time. Okay, the pressure cooking is done. We're going to release the steam. Okay, we released the pressure. And we're going to take a look. Okay, let's take a look here. It's a little bit liquidy. I'm going to let this sit for a while and let the noodles absorb some of the liquid, let the cheese start to solidify, and we'll come back and take a look at it as it starts to cool. Okay, now that we had a chance to let this sit and settle, you can see that it's perfect for lasagna cutting. It's very deep though on the pot. It's up this high, so wow, we'll cut a nice couple slices and see how it looks. Wow, look at that. It sure is a deep dish lasagna, but I think you would really enjoy this. If you like the seafood and the creamy sauce, go ahead and try it, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching.